Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
And welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name is Sky. I'm going to be your host tonight, and I'm joined by Stephen.
Hello everyone, I'm back again tonight. I'll be in the producer role this evening, so if you have any questions, don't be shy. Put them on our Facebook or YouTube streams. I'll probably be able to pass them on to Sky. Let's get those difficult questions in tonight, see if we can stump her. We love getting your questions. And last night, for those of you who were curious and watched, we had 2,140 penguins. So quite a few penguins tonight. Let's hope we get the same number again.
Yeah, bumper night last night, so we can only hope for something similar. And these penguins have already arrived. So just as the countdown was going, we have this small raft of penguins arrive on the water's edge. And they don't seem to be in too much of a hurry just as I say that, they start to move. They don't seem to be in too much of a hurry. They have been chilling out, but they seem to be making their move. So we are seeing earlier and earlier starts tonight. If you are a keen penguin fan, I would be saying be tuning in from 8:30 at the latest for the next few nights, because yep, they are going for it. They are making that danger. Oh no, some of them aren't sure. Some of them are going back. Oh, one of the really confident ones at the front has been one of the first to run back, while the rest have kept going. Oh no, he's continuing on. All right, so the bulk of this first raft have crossed the beach, and that must be a penguin start time at about 8:37. Geez, it's early, isn't it? So as sunset gets earlier and earlier each night, we are seeing earlier start times to the penguin count. But I need to welcome you properly. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live Penguin TV. I've told you who I am, but I want to give you I think I want to do a bit of a special welcome to our UK guests, because, of course, the reason that we are doing these live streams for the next month, or a bit under by now, is because we are doing them especially for the UK. We know that the UK is doing it tough at the moment. They're not having a lot of fun, and we were hoping to bring some smiles to the UK in the morning. We think you might be at home, you might be having some toast with some tea, you might have the kids home from school, of course, and you might be looking for things to make you smile. And how can you not be smiling when you've got little cute penguins in front of you, like these little penguins. These are the smallest and the cutest, dare I say it, penguins in the world. They are literally called the little penguins. And yep, they are little. They're about 33 centimeters tall, a bit taller than a ruler, like a school ruler. And they weigh about 1 kilo. So very little penguins. So if you're from the UK, very warm welcome to you, but of course a warm welcome to everybody else who is tuning in as well. If you're from the UK, let us know where you're watching from. I have a real soft spot for the UK, I've got to tell you, and that is because I lived there for a couple of years. I only just got back about a year and a bit ago. I was living in Ampthill in Bedfordshire. So a little shout out to Ampthill in Bedfordshire. Good time. So tell us where you are watching from. Of course, we are coming to you live from Boonwurrung country. We're coming to you live from Malau, which is the Boonwurrung word for Phillip Island. So, oh gosh, you can see some really good rafts out there. So what I mean, let me first acknowledge the traditional custodians. We're here on Boonwurrung country, and the traditional custodians of this country are the Boonwurrung of the Kulin Nation. And so I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And coming in across Boonwurrung water right now is a pretty sizable raft of penguins. Can you see this grey smudge, this sort of dark smudge in the water? Oh, just above me, we've got the first penguins on the highway, but I am really interested in this raft, everybody, because we don't often have the sea so perfectly flat that you can actually see the penguins in the water on their approach. So this smudge in the water is actually a whole, oh, come on, camera, focus. It's probably a little bit far away, it's having trouble. But oh yes, you can see it now. You might be able to see little penguin heads darting through the water. This is what we call, and there's another, see that group behind, that little other smudge in the background? That is another raft of penguins as well. And why I say raft is a group of penguins in the water is called a raft. And they spend the day out by themselves, these penguins. They're generally solitary as far as we know during the day, but at this time of night, they find each other in the water out the front of this beach. And the way that they find each other is by calling to one another. And they do that in like penguinese. The way that they do that is a hucking noise. Now, you might have seen this in the comments, everybody, and you might have been confused if you're one of our newer viewers. You might have been like, why is everybody saying huck, huck? Well, just like the penguins call to each other and find each other at this time of night, our penguin watching fans also like to call to each other, and they say huck, huck as well. And so these penguins call to each other, they go huck, 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 and they find each other. They form into these big groups, these big rafts, all surfing the wave in now. And then they swim in together. And the reason that they want to swim in together is because there is safety in numbers. They don't want to be by themselves.
Sky?
Yes?
One of our viewers is wondering, when they're called a raft on the ocean, what's the name for a group of penguins on land?
Oh, great question. Yep, once they hit the land, which they are just hitting now, almost, kind of, sort of, they become technically a group, but we like to call them a waddle. Oh, you can just see Ranger Brownie. Can you see the person in the white cap? That's Ranger Brownie. If you watched some of our streams last week, you might have seen him as one of our guest stars. And, well, we can't keep our rangers away from the penguins. And he's obviously come for fun tonight to see the penguins. But yes, so they become a waddle of penguins once they hit the land. So this raft is now becoming a waddle of penguins as they're washing up on the rocks. Now, what I think has happened is that these penguins seem to have washed up a little bit far to the left. Brownie, down in front. Oh,
He just can't
get
stay
out
off.
of the way.
He can't stay off the stream. He's got to be the center of attention.
He's got to be the center of attention. Look at that. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, so they're moving out. They're realizing that they don't want Brownie stealing their star, so they're moving out the way of him now. They're crossing the beach. Yeah, they've washed up a little bit to the left there, and now they're making that dangerous dash a little bit further across the beach than that first group. They've taken a tricky route, I'd say. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see the full raft as they try and cross the beach. Now, keep in mind that we have a penguin counter, and it is one unlucky person's job every single night to have to count the penguins that arrive and cross this beach. And not just at this spot right here. We have this person, and it's Sue tonight. She has to count them all the way down the beach, and there's about 5 different places that we might see penguins arriving from. So right now she's going to be sitting in this, it's a little sort of room in between the stands. I might be able to show you it a little bit later. And she'll be with binoculars, and she'll be frantically going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as fast as she can, trying to catch all of these penguins as they cross. And it would be really hard, this one, since they're doing a bit of a diagonal. Tough work for Sue tonight. It's a very, not a very high tide, but it's a higher tide than it can be sometimes. So she's got less chance to count and recount. She's only really got that one chance to get it done. So thoughts and prayers for Sue tonight as she counts these little rascals coming on in for the night. And they might be coming in because they might still have some chicks that they need to feed, although we are getting to the very end of the breeding season now. Some of these penguins, particularly if they're looking a bit chunky, they might be coming in to molt. They might be coming in to lose all their feathers. So they need to stay waterproof. And so to do that, they lose all their feathers at once, rather than like other birds losing a feather here, a feather there. No, they come in and they stay out of the water and they lose all their feathers at once. We call it a catastrophic molt. And if the chunkier penguins here, they might have just done their last big shop at the fishy supermarket that we call the ocean, and they might be coming in for their 17 days of hard quarantine.
Now, Sky, we had a few people guessing how many penguins were in that big group.
Yeah.
A few of them were very close. I didn't see which one was the closest, but we had 195 penguins in that first group, that first big group.
The first, that sort of diagonal group. Jeez. Tough work for Sue tonight, and it does seem like it's going to be another good night of penguin spotting and watching tonight. We are seeing pretty big numbers. Anything over a few hundred is really good, isn't it, Stephen?
That's right.
Sometimes in the winter we it can be just a few hundred, and that feels pretty good. But certainly when you get into the thousands or into the 2000s, my goodness, you're feeling pretty good. All right, let's flick to this highway camera and let's watch them waddling up close. Look at them waddling. Look at that side-to-side motion as they make their way up this pathway. So it's no wonder a group of them is called a waddle. It's a very distinctive side-to-side movement that we see there.
Now, our viewers are wondering,
yes,
because you said we might not see as many in the different seasons. Do our penguin numbers change throughout the year?
Interesting question. Do our penguin numbers change throughout the year? Look, the colony in and of itself, we say, stays about the same. But these penguins spend about 80% of their life out at sea. And when they come in and when they stay out, can change throughout the year, certainly. So in the summer months, and for people in the UK, it is the summer right now. You'll see I'm in short sleeves. It was a hot day today. In these summer months, so over this sort of January, December, February kind of time, we see more penguins generally because they've got chicks to feed. So they've got eggs to tend to. They've got a reason to come home night after night after night. So we see big numbers crossing the beach. In winter, they don't have those same reasons to keep coming home night after night. So these penguins can stay out at sea for about 28 days. They can stay out for almost a month, really, just fishing and swimming and having a good time. And then after about a month, they might come in, check on their burrow, do a little bit of sort of renovation and housekeeping, and then they might go out for another month or another few weeks or something like that. So while the colony number does stay the same, because we say, yep, across the year, there's about 32,000 that call this island home. Throughout the year we see different numbers. So certainly breeding season is a good time to come if you want to see stacks of penguins crossing the beach. And I think molting season, which we're heading into now, is a really fun time to come as well, because you might see lots of penguins already on land looking very scruffy with sort of half their feathers coming out of their faces.
I love to call them the little sumo penguins doing their yochi across the beach.
If you're not sure what yochi means, that means waddle in Japanese, does it not?
That's right.
Yeah, we had some Japanese live streams last year and we learned a little bit of Japanese lingo. That was one of my favorites. Yochi, waddle. But yeah, the molting season is good because they do need to stock up stores. They need to sort of get themselves really nice and fat because they've got to last for 17 days without any food. You see these, I think you called it them a certified chunker the other night, Stephen. It really delighted me. I liked that. I'm going to use that from now on. Certified chunkers. Oh yeah, we've got more penguins arriving here at the Summerland Beach on the Summerland Peninsula. And and here we are because I was looking at the highway camera. Sorry everyone, it's been a while since we've done this. But yes, so we are Phillip Island Nature Parks. We are a self-funded, or a visitor-funded I should say, and not-for-profit conservation organisation. And when I say visitor-funded, I mean that the reason that we do all the things that we do here, which is conservation, research and education, is because visitors come and visit our attractions like the Penguin Parade. We've got a Koala Conservation Centre, we've got Churchill Island Heritage Farm, we've got the Nobby's Antarctic Journey, but we also manage a lot of the Southside beaches here in Phillip Island. We look after a lot of the natural areas here in Phillip Island as well. And we really do rely on visitors. So people in the UK, when you're free to come to Australia again, do pop in and visit us. See this incredible phenomenon for yourself. In the meantime, though, if you can't make it, we do encourage you to donate to the Penguin Foundation. The link is in the description. Oh, here comes more penguins. Link is in the description, and it does fund some of our important research, conservation work and education. So that's a great way to support our cause and help look after these little penguins, even if you can't visit. But look, I'd say probably the most enjoyable way to help us do our conservation work is just to come and pay us a visit and see this for yourself. See these cute little penguins in real life.
And one of our viewers is wondering, does our conservation work include cleaning out a penguin's burrow after the yearly molt?
Oh, yuck. No, not really. We let nature take care of itself, thank goodness. I'm sure there's be lots of animals about that might like to use some little penguin feathers to, I don't know, insulate something. I don't know. Yeah, these burrows are absolutely covered in, it's a whole penguin's worth of feathers, isn't it? So no, luckily we don't have to clean those out. Luckily we are a pretty hands-off organisation. We let them take care of them take care of themselves, and we just look after them. We look after their habitat so they can look after themselves.
And a tricky question for you. How many feathers does a penguin have on its body?
Oh, just a lot. An absolute stack. I've heard a few different things. I've heard the number 10,000 thrown around. Yeah, I've heard that thrown around. I have also heard that might be a myth because nobody's actually done a sort of centimetre by centimetre check.
Well, we figured out how many feathers are in a square centimetre and did a bit of math to figure out how many centimetres are on a penguin.
So about 10,000 perhaps. Yeah, cool. All right, well, there you go. Tough question, but I knew it was in there. It was in the back of my mind somewhere. All right. Any other questions while we're watching these penguins preening themselves, Stephen?
Well, lots of questions. This one's another tricky one.
Oh,
I love giving you the tricky questions, Sky.
I shouldn't ask you for questions. No more questions from now on.
How many toes does a penguin have?
Toes.
Or claws, if you want to call them that. But
claws, nails, toes. 3.
They have 3 at the front, you're right.
Oh, and is there a little one at the back?
That's it, exactly.
Oh, a bit of a that formation. Very cute. All right. I do know that they have pretty sharp little claws. I'm just enjoying that penguin right in the middle that was standing on that rock. It sort of looked like he was soapboxing for all the rest of the penguins, doing a bit of a political speech maybe. Yeah, good question. So they have sharp little claws because they do need to dig their burrows. Of course, we have some human-made burrows that we give our penguins, I guess. Well, I'll zoom out in a little bit, and once we've done watching these, sorry, here we go, go to the highway camera. I will show you some of these penguin boxes shortly, because we make penguin boxes so that they're easy to move into. Makes it really nice and easy for these penguins to find a home. But before there were penguin boxes, before we were interfering and giving them boxes, they would just dig their own burrows, which are just a hole in the ground. So they sort of need sharp claws for that digging motion. Well, quick flick. I'm going to watch their little bottoms as they waddle on up the highway there. Yeah, so I guess they need 3 in the front for all that digging. And then their feet are mostly for walking, not really for swimming. They don't have much of a kick action with their feet. It is all about their flippers when they're swimming. Their flippers are really, or fins, flippers. Their flippers are really muscular. So I'm just laughing because there's two pre-molters, I'd say, just having a bit of a snooze on the walk home. They just flop down onto their belly. They're like, nah, I'm tired. This is too much. Yeah, their flippers are the main utensils, I guess, that they use for their swimming. Oh, one's going the opposite way. What are you thinking? Might you be a chick heading to the ocean? I don't know. Why were you going the wrong way? So let me take this opportunity, since we're talking about burrows. Oh, let's have a quick look at some more penguins arriving. Oh, more and more rafts, waddles, turning up for Sue now. Lots and lots of penguins. Oh, and they're coming from all sides. So there's some are coming from directly in front of Penguins Plus, but many are coming right from the side, and it's sort of almost 2 streams converging at once, which must make it really hard for Sue.
Don't envy Sue's job tonight. They're coming in from all angles, and these aren't just the 2 pathways that she has to count. She's got to count them all along the beach as well.
Yeah, about 5, and all the way along. And we do she does have one assistant on the far other end, who's sort of looking after sort of one extra pathway. But really, it is all down to Sue. Sue is the main event. Oh, wallaby, hello. So I was going to show you a burrow, but instead, I'm going to show you a wallaby. So everybody, this is a swamp wallaby. If you're from Australia, this might not be so exciting, but if you are a UK watcher, this might be quite a pleasure. I don't know. So it's not just the penguins that live here on Phillip Island. Of course, we've got these swamp wallabies as well. We've got all sorts of other animals that also live in amongst this colony of little penguins. We might spot some of them if we keep our eyes out on these live streams over the next month. But here's some of those man or human constructed burrows that I was telling you about. So there's one with a little penguin face poking out of it. Hello. Yes, there we go. And off to the side, we've got a little chickie. So can you see this penguin just in the middle there? Can you see it looks a little bit... So our little penguins, they're blue. In this light, it's hard to tell, but they are blue. Particularly in daylight, you see that they're quite this sort of bright blue colour. This little penguin, though, is fluffy and kind of brown. Not sleek like the other penguins. So this is a chick that's still got its downy baby feathers. Though it's looking pretty sizable. Hasn't got too much fluffiness left. It might be thinking about fledging soon. So chicks, your parents are very generous, my goodness. So our chicks tend to stay with their parents for 8 to 10 weeks after they hatch, and then they head on out to the ocean. And when they head on out to the ocean, they do that all by themselves. They don't, their parents don't sort of hold their flipper. They don't teach them how to swim. They don't teach them how to hunt. They don't teach them anything really. All they do is just stop feeding them one day. They just literally don't come home, don't feed them one day, and then the chicks go, right, well, I'm hungry. I guess it's time for me to figure out this ocean business. And they have to find their way down to the ocean all by themselves, figure out how to swim all by themselves, figure out how to catch food by themselves, and how to avoid predators by themselves as well. So it is a really tough life for these little penguins. And this life is made tougher, of course, by marine debris and litter in our oceans. So, well, there we go. Thank you, Stephen. That was Stephen controlling the camera like an absolute pro there. Thank you very much. Yes, so marine debris is a big problem for these penguins. They already have enough stresses without litter floating in the oceans or in their habitat. And one of the big sources of pollution for our little penguins at the moment are, of course, masks. We're being asked to wear masks at the moment, and we definitely support the wearing of masks, but we are encouraging people to try and use a reusable mask. Try and get a mask that you can wash and use time and time again to limit what is going into landfill. If you have to use a disposable mask, if you have to use a mask that you can only use for one time only, we've got some penguins coming in on the rocks there. But yes, if you have to use a one-time only mask, that's absolutely fine, but we ask you to please cut the straps because we are seeing cases of birds getting entangled in these masks, and it can be quite difficult for some of these birds if they get caught up in the elastic and whatnot. So please cut the strings of your masks or get yourself a mask that you don't need to throw away. And that's one way that you can help the little penguins and birds all over the world. There we go. Any questions, Stephen? An easy one.
Oh yeah, I got quite a few questions.
Yeah.
This one's not too hard. How do penguins keep the same burrow their whole life, or do they like to move around?
Oh, yeah, interesting question. Okay, so the penguins tend to find a burrow within about 50 meters of where they hatched. So they tend to come back to the place from which they came, I guess. That is what they tend to do. However, there can be a bit of movement in burrows. One thing we've noticed recently is, so some of you might have been watching our burrow cam. There we've got a little penguin. The name's Bluey. Let's see if I can show you. Let's see if this works. I didn't test this before. Oh, yeah, there we go. So you can just see above me, there's a burrow. It looks like an empty burrow at the moment. No one is home. But a penguin that we affectionately call Bluey does call that burrow home. Now, Bluey is about to fledge within the next week or so, we think, and head on out. But it is likely that Bluey will come back to within 50 meters of that burrow, and that's where Bluey will spend Bluey's life. I keep saying Bluey, Bluey, Bluey because we don't know if it's a he or a she. I'm going to call her a she for the sake of it because Bluey on the ABC is a girl, and that feels right to me. Oh, switch cameras. There we go. So Bluey's probably going to come back to a burrow nearby. However, if you've been watching Bluey, you would have noticed that there was a hijacker penguin. There was a penguin who moved into Bluey's burrow for a day, and it was not Bluey's mum, it was not Bluey's dad, it was just some other penguin. It was a penguin who was about to molt. And yeah, and they did not get along very well for that day that they had to share their burrow. They did not get along very well. And what we were told was that actually sometimes within the molting penguins will move around from burrow to burrow. Maybe they get sick of sitting in the same spot for 17 days in a row. So they might move around a little bit. And yeah, throughout their life, these penguins might move around. I've heard that sometimes the males might hold on to a burrow and the females, in the event of a divorce, might find a new one. I've also heard that that little tidbit sort of had a spotlight shone on it. It might not be as true as we think. So take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, certainly there can be a little bit of movement around burrows, but yeah, generally they come back to within about 50 meters of where they hatched. Oh gosh, a whole stack of penguins arriving. Oh, and we've got a Cape Barren goose on the beach there too. So this is one of the geese that we see from time to time here, a fair bit on Phillip Island, on Malau here. And if you follow our social media, you might see that we do Footprint Friday on our stories on Instagram and Facebook as well, I think. And today there was a Cape Barren goose's footprints was the test for you. So I recommend, if you haven't seen our Footprint Fridays, make sure you follow us on the social media and check out our stories at least on Fridays, so you can take part in the footprint quiz game. All right, we have got 3 minutes left, everybody. So I reckon I can take a last question or two. Oh, Penguin Highway, got some waddlers. Last question or two.
Well, people were asking, what's the waddle speed of a penguin?
What's the waddle speed of a penguin? We had a specialist, a bit of a penguin expert. His name's Ross. He's one of the people who works here at Phillip Island Nature Parks. We had him come in one night and he said, look, we've never put like a little penguin radar on them. We've never measured their walking speed, but he reckons it is about the pace at which you would walk down the aisle. So, you know, imagine you're holding your bouquet and the music's playing and you're like, dun-na, dun-na, and you take one step, foot together, one step, foot together, one step, foot together. If you as a human walk at that pace, that is how you can pretty much keep pace with the penguins, he reckons. And I think that's a great analogy. I love that he was marrying these penguins, walking down the aisle with the penguins. Now that, Stephen, is a certified chunker.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a sumo penguin coming home.
So this has got to be a pre-molt penguin. This penguin can hardly walk. Look at that.
He got left behind by the group already.
Yeah. So I can't imagine that this penguin is going to be making the walk too many more times before popping those feathers out, before starving him or herself for 17 days. And remember, some of these penguins, they can actually walk for 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers to get to their homes. Not all of them. Some of them, as you can see, have these beachside mansions. But yep, there are some that have got a 2 kilometer journey tonight. And you can only imagine if you're carrying almost double your regular body weight, that is a tough journey to make. All right, everybody, look, it is pretty much the end of the night now. I hope you have enjoyed Live Penguin TV. Remember to donate to the Penguin Foundation. If you can, the link is in the description above, below, wherever it is. You can adopt a penguin, you can adopt a bandicoot, I think you can adopt a koala, you can adopt all sorts of things, but we really do recommend that if you can, that is a really lovely thing that you can do. Is there anything else I need to tell people about?
Tune in tomorrow night.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow night because we've got Stephen on the mic. So make sure you come to watch Stephen present tomorrow night. And then I would say definitely tune in on Monday night because we have got wildlife presenter Michaela Strachan. She's going to be coming in and she's going to be hosting the penguins with us. Then also again on next Wednesday, we've got woodsman Ray Mears. He's going to be coming in and co-hosting the penguin live stream. So look, I can't wait to see what they think of this fantastic phenomenon. I can't wait to talk to them about all things penguin. The penguins still keep coming in. You'll have to tune in tomorrow night if you want to know how many it was. I think it was a stack.
Stack and a half.
Stack and a half. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Well, since we huck to greet, we might huck to say goodbye. So as we say goodbye, at least I certainly will. Stephen may or may not join in. But look, we'll see you next time, everybody, about the same time again tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.